Hi, here I am again on the trade show floor, and I'm catching up with Kevin Goodman. He's currently with FSLogix. I know you've had quite a history in the industry. You know, I guess I've seen you at a number of Bri forums, and were you originally VMware, or like what's your, where did you start with all this stuff?
I think what Kevin's saying is I'm old, been around forever. That's okay. I actually, way back in the day, wrote software for Citrix, so I wrote their memory management routines way back when. That was a long time ago.
Oh, okay, I didn't even know that.
You Citrites out there, remember that was codenamed Baloo, and it was valid software. It did the DLL rebasing.
Oh, wow.
Through all the 32-bit versions of MetaFrame, and it kind of got obsoleted once the 64-bit stuff came out. But yeah, I've been around that long.
Wow. Okay.
Remember 32-bit? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So, I guess now you're over with FSLogix. Is that something you founded, or?
Yeah, so I founded it with three other guys. So Randy Cook, who's CTO, Jeremy Huron, and Brian Mann. And those three gentlemen were all Symantec. And prior to my company RTO getting acquired by VMware, we did an OEM with Symantec. And I think it was a couple of years after I was at VMware, I ran into Randy at a VMworld. And he said, man, if you ever leave, drop breadcrumbs, because we'll follow you guys. And I think that was the germ of the idea of, you know, we weren't really happy with the way things were going. We figured we could fix a whole bunch of stuff. And I left, they left Symantec. We started FSLogix, I guess, in 2013.
Okay. So, now that you're over at FSLogix, you know, I thought it'd be interesting to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing, because you have a very unique approach to problems that I don't know if there's really anybody in this space that's doing what you're doing.
So the FS in FSLogix stands for file systems, okay? And you know those guys at Symantec know their file systems. All right, Randy, by the way, has 32 patents related with file system technology. So these guys know their file systems. And we recognized, or I should say the guys from Symantec, Jeremy, Brian, and Randy recognized a while back that disk space wasn't going to be expensive anymore. And, you know, you remember back in 2010 where it was exorbitant, and so we used to do all kinds of things to try to save disk space. We'd stream applications down. Tim Mangan, who's on our board, is the king of that with that V, streaming applications down so that you save disk space and stuff like that. But fast forward today, I think you'll agree with me, Kevin, that disk space isn't that as expensive as it used to be.
No, right? No. Yeah, it definitely isn't.
Yeah, so what we do is we decided, especially on PBS, they're streaming that disk out anyway, so what if it grows to be bigger? We used to keep that base image lean and mean, only put a few things on there, and the whole idea of Citrix application virtualization, which works well, is you put different applications on different silos, and then you just publish them to a desktop. But, you know, even Citrix will tell you this now, you're paying a VTAX, you're paying for the UCS frame, you're paying the VMware vSphere license, and it ends up being costly. Instead, what we do is we say install the applications in the base image, and then we'll filter them out based on your Active Directory group membership. So if you're an Adobe Acrobat user, you see Pro, I may only see Reader, but we don't have to have separate silos for that. You may be using an app, or we in the company may be using an app, use Java 6. We'll tie that to one particular URL, so the rest of the Java works. That's how we got our start with all that image management. Of course, we're here today to talk about our Office 365. It's rented Microsoft kind of our Office 365 container.
Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of noise in the industry about what you're doing with Office 365, because I've definitely seen customers having pain points with OneDrive roaming inside and outside inside the data center. I've had a customer that has a call center. They want everything on OneDrive, but the fact that a user logs in and then OneDrive has to sync, not a great experience.
Yeah, so, if you're an Office 365 user, Microsoft gives you a terabyte of OneDrive space. And that presents a couple of dilemmas, mostly for us virtual desktop users, is it doesn't sync over a network drive very well. So it's not like you can put this up on a folder redirection share and expect it to work. The other problem with it is what do you do in a physical environment where you only have a 280 gig hard drive? So what FSLogix does, our container actually can grow as large as you need it to grow, and you can store it in Azure File Services. You could store it in your own data center if you wanted to on Amazon S3, and we could attach it either to that physical drive up to the user, whether he's in Citrix or Azure, or if he's on Amazon Workspaces. It doesn't matter to us. And what's neat about it is you don't have to tie it to a zone or any collection or anything like that. It roams with you no matter where you go.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of what I like about it is you're not tying yourself to a particular architecture or vendor. You have the ability to be used as a solution in a multitude of scenarios, and that flexibility offers a lot to customers. And I heard that you also are doing a little bit more than just making the OneDrive experience better.
Yeah, so take Outlook, for example. People who use Outlook locally are used to having it up immediately, and then they want to search and they want to find the items in there. And when they get up to an environment such as Citrix or up in Azure, they run in situations where, one, the search doesn't work anymore, or if they force you to online mode, then it's very slow.
Yeah.
So we'll store that cache in the search index. Even if you're on multi-user, if you're on RDSH, we'll store your search index and allow that to roam with you when you go from session to session.
Yeah. So that has been a huge thing for customers, especially with running their Outlook in the VDI environment, because it's just, you want the cached exchange mode, because, it just doesn't work otherwise.
And you can't put it on a folder redirection, and one of the reasons why is Outlook was designed to be local. It's not expecting to go over a network share. And anyone who tries that will see if you have any OST of any significant size, you end up with corruption. And so the little secret sauce that FSLogix has is Outlook thinks he's talking to a local drive. Because he thinks he's talking to a local drive, you don't see that corruption like you would in some of the other solutions or in Microsoft UPD.
Yeah, and I think that's been a consensus with a lot of industry leaders that the folder redirection really doesn't work well. It's an easy way to try and address things, but it has performance considerations. I know a number of MVPs and CTPs did a multi-blog series on, redirecting app data is bad, and I forget there was another one on folder redirection. Every time you redirect a folder, a puppy dies or something like that. Yeah.
Listen to this man; he speaks wisdom.
Yeah. So just being you're doing block level redirection, right?
Basically, so we got some secret sauce in there. So underneath, the file system guys are doing a little bit of streaming, a little bit of caching, and for example, one of the things that will corrupt you immediately with OST is if you lose connection to that folder redirection. If that network blips a little bit like that, the next time you come in, it's not right. He wasn't meant to recover from that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times what our guys do in a demo is they'll just bring up disk management, and our container looks like a VHD to the system, right?
Yeah.
They'll bring up disk manager, right click on it, and say detach, and just watch what happens. Nothing. It comes right back. We're smart enough to recognize we do that type of fault tolerance on there, and we are, each release increases the length that could be. we're almost to the point now where you can reboot the SAN and we'll hold on to all that data for you until you get back up there.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's what people need. You know, if people are going to go to Azure, and it's a wonderful, the announcements they made today, just really exciting, RDMI and all that stuff, really exciting. But people want an interface that's the same as what was on their Surface Pro. And if you can give that to them, then you get the advantages of, one, your data is all stored up on the server somewhere, and you don't have any data at rest, but you get the same experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking to you just before this about, you know, a customer of mine is standing up storage spaces direct in Azure just so they can host user profile disks. And you're saying with your solution, that's no longer needed.
You know what? You create a folder redirection and a puppy dies. If you stand up a file server in Azure to host your profiles, your career will die. You'll go broke.
Yeah.
You can't afford to do that. You have to go directly to the services, either S3 or Azure File Services. And for backup, you're going to want to go to Glacier or something else like that, because you're talking pennies a gigabyte compared to paying for the RAM, paying for the CPU, and then paying for the disk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and it was good to get a little history. I never realized how far back you went, and you know, it's good to see the stuff you're doing. You're fixing problems, and you know, wish you guys the best of luck in changing the world.
All right, man, Kevin. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Pleasure.